Let's talk about quad tracking guitars. That's what we all do in modern metal productions. It means that we play and record the same rhythm guitar performance 4 times. And we blend different guitar tones all to create something that is huge and massive. We all create our little rhythm guitar orchestras these days. And as massive as the results can sound, there's a lot that can go wrong. And there are a lot of different ways and techniques how you can blend different guitar tones, how you can mix, arrange, and pan those 4 guitar tracks. Today I want to introduce you to the 2 main techniques or ways of how you can combine, mix, and especially pan those 4 guitar tracks. I call them the wall of sound and the stereo split. What you are about to watch is a snippet of a over 1 hour long course called, bingo, Blending Guitar Tones, where I explain a lot more in a lot more detail, where I give you a lot more practical examples and even the audio tracks so you can experiment with them. If you want to see more, there's a link below to the full course, or as usual, you just become a member of my academy Kohle Audio Cult, which will give you all our courses from me and all the other amazing producers like Nolly and Jens Bogren and blah blah blah. And all our multi-tracks and access. You will get mixed reviews from me, free plugins, a massive package. But enough talking, time to dive deeper into quad tracking. Let's start with the basics. Today's question is, how should I pan my quad track guitars and why? Enjoy! So let me explain the most common way of recording 4 rhythm guitar tracks for a metal production. We start with guitarist number 1, who will play 1, 2 guitars, panned left, right through his rig, like this. Then we add 2 more tracks, we call it guitarist number 2. Again, left and right, panned 100%, but he or she playing through another rig. That means we end up with 2 blended tones, 4 guitar tracks, all panned left and right. And, very important, in order to create a wall of sound, what we want is we want the same sound on the left and on the right side. What we got here is a simple riff with 4 rhythm guitars. You can see them over here. We got 1 pair, this is guitarist number 1 with 1 guitar tone, and another pair, guitarist number 2 with another guitar tone. They are both panned left and right. So this is left, right, left, right. Let's listen to guitarist number 1 with guitar tone number 1. Sounds like this. And then we got guitarist number 2. Again panned left and right, but with a very different sounding guitar tone. And we're going to speak about those 2 guitar tones and how they complement each other later in this course. Together, it sounds like this. So you see, this adds up nicely. We got both guitarists, both guitar tones on both sides. Everything is everywhere. Everything is big. We got a wall of sound. That's easy. But what happens if those 2 guitarists play different riffs or different voicings, or if one, like in this example, guitarist starts playing a harmony? Because then we have to start thinking about how we actually pan those 4 guitars. And I want to show you the 2 options we have. So in this next riff here, guitarist number 1 keeps on playing the main riff. Sounds like this. But guitarist number 2 starts playing a harmony. Sounds like this. Now, as long as both pairs of guitars, as long as both guitarists more or less have the same volume, you don't have to change anything. You can just stick with that wall of sound. That means both guitarists are still panned to the left and right, both guitarists are everywhere, and as long as the volume is more or less the same, it's gonna sound great. Wall of sound, here we go.
But there are two different scenarios where this is not going to work. The first scenario could be that you want more separation, that you want your mix to sound more transparent, that it's hard to tell those voices apart, and you want to have them more separated. That would be one decision during the mix. The other problem that sometimes occurs is when both guitar pairs, both guitar tones don't have the same volume in the mix. Let's say one is way louder than the other one. If now the more quiet one starts playing the harmony may not be loud enough. Now you run into trouble. And one way to fix either of those scenarios is what we see over here. There's another way of doing this. So what about having guitarist number 1 on one side and guitarist number 2 on the other side? That means guitarist number 1, he's either playing or he's being reamped through both rigs, and he's panned to one side, playing one tone and the other tone, and guitarist number 2 is doing the same thing on the other side. The cool thing, once again, is that you can blend the two rigs in any way that you want. Because both tones are on both sides, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't even change the performance. Let's say you go from a 50-50 blend to a 90% and 10% blend. Because both guitarists are on both sides, we just change the balance of the two tones on both sides, but we don't change the performance. Because one performance is here and stays here, no matter how the balance between the tones is, and the other performance is on the other side and stays here, which is what I've described as the stereo split. So what we do now is we actually move one of the harmony performances to our main pair and do the opposite thing here. So you see guitarist number 1 still pan to the left and to the right, now plays the main riff on the left and the harmony on the right. Sounds like this. And the same thing is happening here with guitarist number 2, or guitar tone number 2, on the left side the main riff, on the right side the harmony. And the main difference is now that we don't have both voices, both guitarists on both sides. Now we have one voice, the main riff on the left side, and the harmony on the right side. Let's have a listen to the mix and you will clearly hear the difference. It sounds more transparent because, you know, we got one voice over here and the other one over there. And the big advantage of the stereo split method is that I'm able to change the balance of those two guitar tones without changing the performance. So if I decide to make guitar tone 2 a lot louder or a lot quieter, it's not going to change the balance of my tracks. And even if I mute guitarist number 2, I still have both voices. I still have the main riff on the left and the harmony on the right. So that means I can have any balance between 50-50, 90-10, whatever. I can have any balance between those two tones and it's not going to affect the performance. You see, no difference. If I do the same thing over here on the wall of sound, if I just pull this down, then the harmony will disappear. The advantage of the wall of sound of our first example is that it just sounds a little bigger and a little wider. Now, let's have a listen to both of them A-B'd. But you know what? The good thing is this world isn't just black and white. There's a lot of gray in between. And that means those two methods can be mixed even within a song. So you decide what you want to do. Maybe you want that wall of sound for most of the time. But then sometimes when the guitarist plays something different, you can decide whether you want to have 8 tracks and a full wall, maybe in the chorus where it's needed, or in the verse. You might say like, hey, it's actually cool to have one guitarist on one side, the harmony here and the riff over there, because the verse isn't supposed to sound big. It can be sound a little smaller and a little more quiet anyway. What I'm saying is this can be mixed. And since maybe 80 or 90% of these days productions are reamped guitar tones, you can actually decide that during the mix or right before the mix when you reamp. And this can be decided riff by riff. So if you have those 4 DI tracks, you can either reamp them through both rigs and then decide later, or before reamping, you just cut it together. So you can decide for each riff whether you want to have each guitarist on one side, which means more transparent, slightly smaller, but the balance between the 2 tones doesn't matter. Or if you want to go for that wall of sound, which means it will sound bigger than the first method, you will have both guitarists everywhere, but you need more tracks once the guitarist plays something different.
I gotta interrupt you here, I'm very sorry. I hope you enjoyed our little trip into blending guitar tone land. There is a full course. You just watched 7 minutes, and it's a more than 1 hour long course. A lot of theory, but also a lot of practical examples and multi-tracks. It's a lot of fun. There's a link below. Check out the course. But one more time, if you are smart, you better get the Kohle Audio Cult membership. It's $127 for 3 months, and you get all our courses. And that is a massive package. All our courses. You can record drums with Nolly. You can mix Paradise Lost or Motorhead or Firewind, like a lot of multi-tracks and mixing courses from different heavy mixing genres. You get basic courses from me about whatever, drum bus compression, blending guitar tones, guitar EQ, about whatever, choosing the right cymbals for your drums. There's a lot in there. You get free plugins and you get mix reviews from me. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to this channel if you did, and leave a comment. I'm still a little sick. I'm sorry. I have been sick since Christmas Eve. I think the unholy Lord wants to punish me for maybe not being satanic enough. Or do you have another idea? Leave a comment. Anyway, Happy New Year. It's probably already 2025 when you watch this. Thanks for watching. I see you in hell, motherfuckers. Bye-bye.